Hi Jay, welcome back to Finland.
It's really good to be here. Thank you.
How has today been so far?
It's been a busy day. We flew in from Stockholm this morning, played the Bråvalla festival yesterday, and so we've just been traveling. We just got here. I got to lay down for a half an hour in my hotel room, take a shower, try to get cleaned up for you guys.
Are there any bands you're waiting forward to see tonight?
No, I don't think so. Graveyard plays tomorrow, and I would like to see them. It's always a treat to run into those guys. But not really. I don't think there's anything I'm really looking forward to. Wait, didn't Queens of Stone Age? Yeah, they played yesterday. There's not really anything on the bill today that I won't really be walking around out there. That's nothing. Not to say I don't like the bands, but it just doesn't really get my interest. That's all.
Well, you seem to come to Finland a lot. It's been almost a month since you last been here. How does Europe compare to the US?
Well, that's a loaded question because Europe is really big and there are a lot of different countries in Europe. And so there are a lot of different kinds of people, you know, different languages, everything. The United States is so huge and it's one thing for the most part. You have different areas and everything, but the national sentiment seems to be more closely tied together that way, as opposed to Europe. But I always enjoy traveling Europe and the audiences out here. You know, Finland has always been very good to us, so I'm really excited about the festival today. We're headlining the Carlings stage, and that's really cool because we have a lot of really good friends over at Carlings, and Danny Young. Hey, Danny. But I love the audiences over here. How passionate they are about art and music is. It makes the whole thing feel better to me.
Well, there has been a lot of hype around Rival Sons, especially within a year. Do you feel like you've changed as a band because of that?
I don't think that we've changed as a band because of that. I think that we've changed as a band. Actually, the correct answer is yes. We have changed as a band because of that. Because the real reason that we've changed is we've been on the road so much. We've traveled so far and played so many shows, from festivals to headlining our own shows, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. But we're playing so often that naturally the osmosis is that we're going to change a little bit and hopefully keep changing, you know, because you want to keep growing instead of being stagnant, and you hope to be able to purvey your own style at some point.
Your songs and your music sounds to me very intense. Do you think that has something to do with a short amount of time that you usually write your albums?
Yes, I do. For the last couple of records, we only give ourselves 3 weeks or so in the studio, and we have to write everything on the spot and record everything right away. I think that we're trying to capture as much intensity as possible because that's really what it's about. I was giving an interview a couple weeks back, and I was reminding myself that what the music is one thing. What we are really trying to sell our audience is energy, because and have the energy come through the music, so it's identifiable for people. And but that process of recording so quickly definitely lends itself to high intensity and a lot of friction, and so yeah, yes.
How is your writing process like? Except short, but otherwise?
Well, the writing process goes in a number of different ways for the Rival Sons. For me, I write every day. I'm a compulsive writer, so I'm always writing. And but not for the band. I write for myself and for other people and their records and everything. But with the band, for the most part, we'll get some music together. Someone will come up with a riff, and then we'll build a song around that immediately. And so I'll have to write out the melodies and arrange and do everything. And then the band together will make the final arrangement and writing out all of the lyrics. So there's either that way, or I'll write a complete song for the band on my own and then just bring the song to them. So it's really one of those two ways.
How did you start singing in the first place, or has it kind of always been there?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's always been there. I've always, I don't remember not singing. From a really young age, I was fortunate enough to grow up in a family that nurtured music and individuality and self-expression. And they would always, my parents said that as soon as I could talk, like I was singing, basically. And music was one of those things that felt like a language that was very honest. It was much more honest than just regular talking. Like music sounded like a person's heart, you know? And so I just always sang and cultivated that language, as I'm still doing now to this day, trying to figure out how to most eloquently display what's in your heart and in your head, and to say it truthfully, with honesty.
What kind of part did music play in your life overall as a young kid? Like, what inspired you?
Music played part number one. That was always everything, The rest of my friends would want to go out and do different things, and I always wanted to stay in my room and write songs, and learn more guitar chords and learn how to multi-track, recording and everything. But music is definitely built, from a young age, I built everything around music. I don't really know anything else. I don't know that I would be any good at anything else other than music, because I've put everything into it. Everything.
Who did you look up to back then? Or now?
Oh, my father.
Father?
Yeah. Growing up as a kid I grew up in a very small community, up in the mountains. I always looked up to my mom and my dad and my family that way. And artistically, I think, just the regulars, like the Bob Dylans, Leonard Cohens, and the Joni Mitchells, and the Van Morrisons, and I was always interested in songwriters, and our tours that way, of people that could turn a phrase and tell stories, or sing stories, and be able to paint new landscapes for you that you've never seen before. I was always into that. And then, when by the time I was like a mid-teenager, I got a little bit more into rock and roll for just a little bit, and then I put it down. I wasn't really into rock and roll. I don't really listen to rock and roll even now, because I play rock and roll every night, so the last thing I want to do is put on my headphones on the bus and hear more racket. I like more like chill out music.
Blues?
A lot of blues. Grew up with a lot of blues music. Yeah.
What kind of goals did you have as a band with Rival Sons when it first started out, and how do those goals stand now?
I think our main goal was to make good music. And I think that's still our goal. We're fortunate enough to have a good team of people working really, really hard, to spread the word so that we can make it here and, other countries. And we have people working to put us up and lift us up constantly. So we're very fortunate, you know, our publicist Talita Genman out of London. She works really hard, you know, doing that, as well as our management and booking agents and everyone. But for the band, it's really, we just want to make the best music we can make. We want to perform the best that we can. We want to make it real and keep it fresh and honest for ourselves first. Because if we make it honest for ourselves and truthful for ourselves, then we know that we're giving the audience something real, you know, as real or as honest as we're capable of being, you know, because even though in your mind you might be thinking like, I'm really being real, I'm really being truthful. Well, the ego can really mess with that, and it can tarnish all of that without you even suspecting. So nightly you have to keep yourself in check, you know, and keep your focus on like, no, be honest and really, really try to connect emotionally.
And isn't it kind of rough being so honest all the time, because you have to be so open all the time?
No, I don't think so. But, well, you got to think about that question, you know. The question itself, is it hard being so honest and being so open? I think that things are difficult all around, no matter how you're approaching it. So either you're going to run into problems and you're going to feel insecure, and you're going to feel, you know, that you have something to prove or whatever, no matter what your approach is. I think the most difficult thing is always remembering to try to be kind and to try to be honest that way. That's difficult to always, you know, because it's a lot easier to do the wrong thing. You know, it's a lot harder to try to do the right thing. And you find yourself doing the wrong thing constantly. And you got to turn yourself around and put yourself back on track. Give yourself a little spanking, you know, get back on track. You got to be honest with these people and be, you know, be real. So, I mean, that's difficult, but in terms of sensitivities, you know, what's the alternative? I don't want to know the alternative. It's all around us, and we're, you know, that's really what, for me, what I'm rebelling against.
How would you describe yourself personally, and how would you say that comes through in your music?
That is a big question. How am I supposed to answer that?
I don't know.
Could any one of you in this room answer that? How would you describe yourself personally? Well, I
know it's everyone's favorite question.
Well, my name's Buchanan, and I'm a songwriter. I'm lost, just like you guys are. You know, I'm just trying to find my way. But I do it in front of thousands of people every night. Yeah, I'm a romantic, and I love music, and I love the arts, and I love beauty. And how does that come through in the music? I don't know, but I know that it does, because I'm creating the music that I'm making, you know, along with my brothers, the other guys in the band. We're all creating this, so it's definitely somewhere in there. Our identities are probably somewhere in there, but I'm also a big fan of, you know, a big proponent of the idea that your art isn't really you. You know, your art is your imagination, and it's the handiwork and the craft of your heart and your mind coming together, but it's invention. Whereas I'm a person and you're a person. So if I write a song and if it does really well, you know, you can take a song and you can't say, oh, that song, that's really Jay's heart, that's really him. Well, no, not really, that's just something I made. You know, I'm me. I'm a person, I'm an actual person. I'm a tangible thing, but the music is something tangible that you've created, you know, so.
You're getting up on stage tonight around 8. What's going through your mind usually when you get up on stage?
Well, it depends on the night. You know, sometimes when you're getting ready to hit the stage, sometimes you're feeling like, okay, does my voice feel? Did I get enough rest? Am I hungry? Do I have to go to the bathroom? Do I want a cigarette? Or do I want maybe a scotch to drink and loosen up my throat a little bit? That's really it, you know. And sometimes, because we do it every night, sometimes I'll find myself like, okay, gonna get up there and I'm gonna do it again in front of all of these people. All right. And sometimes you feel really pumped up. You feel really excited. And then sometimes you feel like, wow, how am I gonna do that? I feel like taking a nap right now. You know, I could really use a pillow and just go to bed. But then as soon as the music starts and you're up there, you know, it all kicks back in. You know, you're there and you feel all of that energy coming off of the audience and my bandmates. I'm lucky enough to be in a band of guys that really play well, you know. And so as soon as we all start playing, everybody kind of ignites each other's fuse that way, and the whole thing blows up.
Do you have a favorite song to play live, or songs?
I think right now we have a song from our latest record called Jordan that I wrote that's really been the favorite to play. I think the reason for that isn't necessarily the song itself or the way it sounds or the lyrics. It's that I've had so many people writing me emails or people getting tattoos of the lyrics or whatever, but people telling me that song helped them because it's a song about grieving and, you know, trying to understand death when you lose someone you love. So all of the response that we've gotten back from that song about it actually helping people, well, that makes what I'm doing worthwhile. If we're gonna make songs and if somebody's gonna tell me like, hey, you wrote this song and that song helped me during this really hard time, that's what it's all about. It's not about, we're gonna get up there and people are gonna be pumping their fists and rocking out and, getting drunk and trying to get laid and like all of that, that's all good. But to really reach someone's heart and to know that you've helped them in a time of need, that's what music is for. And so I would have to say that song more than any.
Do you have a specific theory about why is music so important to so many people and touches so many people and fascinates so many people?
Yeah. Well, it's not a very specific theory. I think that music is something that everyone understands. In my opinion, it's absolutely the highest art form there is. You have other art forms, painting, sculpture, and the visual arts that way. Then you have other performance arts, dancing. You have theater, you have actors. Well, you have all of these different arts, but you can't take a 2-year-old child, if you take them to the museum and you get them to stare at a painting, they'll see it and it'll capture something. And then you show them a sculpture, they'll see it and it will excite them. And then you can show them these magnificent dancers and they'll see that and that'll excite them, But you can play music for a small child and it gets them, right? It makes them feel something. I don't know any other art form that does that. Music resonates with everything. It resonates with everything from plants and animals to everything. It's an all-encompassing love. I know that sounds so like hippie, but that's absolutely what I believe. It's part of like an energy field that's just out there, and I feel extremely fortunate to have my life wrapped around something that is so beautiful.
Where do you see yourself and Rival Sons 5 years from now?
We'll probably be on tour and making records. Just like this. You know, maybe for less people, maybe for more people, but we'll probably just be making records, and we'll probably be a very, very different band by then. I have no idea what that would be, but I think we'll definitely be a very different band than we are now.
That's exciting.
Yeah, you know, it's the future. It's supposed to be exciting.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Any final words or messages you'd like to send out there? I want to thank all of our fans in Finland, our Finnish people. I think that one thing that's very unique about you guys is you're always inviting us to go into the sauna. Oh.
You know, sauna is it's a Finnish word, right?
Yeah.
You know, you guys basically rule it. I think that's really cool because I like the sauna. But no, we really enjoy our time over here. From our very first show in, I believe it was in Turku, to today, the amount of support that we've gotten from Finland has been amazing. And so I'm very thankful. Thank you for this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.